Hello, boys and girls. Once again, today I'm going to attack leftist. Well, let's start calling them what we're going to start calling them. The downers, the so-called left. We start calling them the downers because they're not left. They're not right. They're just wrong. So we need to label them something that they actually are. And we've come up with the term downers because they're not for anything. They're against everything. So here's a downer Christian pastor who is on X saying that Charlie Kirk was horrible and all this kind of stuff. And I'm attacking this because this is the rhetoric of the downers, the so-called left in America. And I'm going to go through his accusations and then back it up with actual statements from Kirk. Listen, I'm not on Kirk's political side, but I debate anybody and I listen to their words. And if their words aren't what people manipulate and accuse them of, I'll stand up for them. I don't care what political side they're on. That's what this is about. I'm not on the same political side as Kirk. I have a lot of disagreements with him. This is not the right time to get into those things. This is the right time to talk about why the left has created violence. Because the left is not left, it's not right, it's just wrong. So let's get going.
Christian minister here. Charlie Kirk is not a martyr for Christ, despite the claims on social media this week from the right. While we condemn his murder and the gun violence that led to it, we must also reject MAGA's efforts to portray him as something he was not. Kirk preached hatred and division as a white Christian nationalist, which contradicts Jesus' teachings. He preached anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, misogyny, and homophobia.
Okay, we don't need to listen to any more of that. You can read the statement that he's made here on his post. So let's get going. Anti-Semitism. Kirk was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie was more than a friend of Israel. He was a great champion of our shared roots and values. May his memory be a blessing. From fucking Netanyahu.
Of course, for all of us who know him, who knew him, remembered for so many things today. And one of them is his staunch support of Israel. He visited in 2018. I remember. That was the first time I met him. It was at the U.S. Embassy after it had moved to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. That was one of then President Trump's first term decisions.
Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Charlie Kirk was a steadfast friend of Israel and true ally of the Jewish people. He stood proudly for the Judeo-Christian values that bind Israel and America, the foundation of American and Israeli civilization, Judeo-Christian values. Charlie's fear. I'm not even religious. I'm not a religious person. But I do understand that Judeo-Christian values are the basis for Western civilization. That's a historical fact. I have a degree in this topic. I've studied it. I agree with Kirk on that. I do not agree with Kirk that morality comes from religion. Religion is a philosophical practice that has created a lot of the foundation of our Judeo-Christian civilization's basis of morality. But religion does not give you a free ticket to morality. That's where I disagree with Kirk. One of many things I disagree with Kirk on. Doesn't matter. I can still respect where he's coming from. Okay, so I think that debunks the first claim, anti-Semitism. Islamophobia, I'll get to that. First, we're going to talk about racism next. Comedian Terrence K. Williams has blasted Charlie Kirk's haters, declaring that Turning Point USA founder was not a racist, a black comedian. He's actually going to go to the bat for Charlie here, and he's become very public, active, sort of activist against all of the racist bullshit that people are shoving down his throat, calling him even white supremacist. Charlie Kirk was not a racist, and I will not sit back and allow people to spread that lie. I gave Charlie Kirk his flowers last year and thanked him for helping hundreds of young black people get an invite to the White House back in 2019. He helped pay for most of their flights,
want to give Charlie some credit here, okay? Back in 2019, Charlie Kirk helped a lot of young blacks get to the White House. He changed a lot of their lives. A lot of them never imagined going to the White House, and Charlie helped hundreds of young black boys and girls go to the White House. Charlie, thank you for that.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Do you understand that as a white man, you do not have to apologize for being white? You just have to...
Oh, and you have to apologize for being black? Here's the thing. You want to look at hate crimes? We looked at that in the previous video. Hate crimes in the United States, 2024. Blacks are 13% of the American population. Jews are 2.4% of the American population. Jews suffered more than 100 times more hate crimes in America in 2024 than blacks. Reported hate crimes in the FBI NCIC. So the problem that I see, and the problem that Kirk saw, and the problem that all the, you know, our black brothers and sisters out there who are adults see, is that there's a lot of black people that want to play victim card because they want a freebie. They've already gotten a lot of freebies with that card. And that's what Kirk was speaking out about. I'm from a minority myself. I don't appreciate when black people play victim card. I never play victim card. And my minority suffers a lot more discrimination than blacks. But I won't play victim card.
Acknowledge the racism that happens around you. That is all.
What racism happens around me?
Let's say that a racist police officer shoots me, right, and kills me, right? For you to be a white man and you see that and don't say anything about it, I believe that my community would be upset about that. Now,
Fair point. Fair point. Now, if there are a bunch of racist police officers, fuck them. Get them out. Charge them if they're doing their police duties and they are doing it racially, you know, racial profiling. Yeah. You know, the LAPD, notoriously racist history. Is it like that today? No, but that was recent history, still enough. You know, those are real things. We got to acknowledge that. Yes. Here's the actually racist ideology. Going to all white people and saying that because some other white people did this, you're also racist. That is racism. And that is what this black young man is doing. And he doesn't understand it yet. Hopefully, you know, since 2 years ago, he debated Kirk on this, he's learned and grown up a little bit more. Hopefully. I understand how people can come from this. Totally. But racism is when you say, oh, well, your skin color is this, or you look like this, and you did this bad to these people, or to me, because I'm of this minority and you're of that minority. Therefore, all of you are racists. Everyone that looks like you is a racist. That's racism.
all you have to do as a white man, you don't have to get on the internet or on Twitter and say, I'm sorry for being white, but you should at least acknowledge the racism that happens around you.
Yes and no.
Okay, well, yeah, if an individual act of racism happens...
That is just taking accountability for what happens around you.
Hold on a second. First of all, I don't have to be accountability for a whole race, do I? Why do I have to be accountable for the white race?
For yourself.
Right, so if I'm racist, I'll take responsibility for that.
You probably are not racist, but...
Well, thank you. So then why do I have to comment on somebody else's racism?
But what you should do is take accountability for the racism around you. Not pretend that it doesn't happen around you. Like, again, the example that I gave you, that if I was shot by a police officer and you found out that person was racist, right? Now...
But why would you say take responsibility? How can I take responsibility for somebody else's actions?
What you should do is just take accountability and say, hey, yes, that...
He just can't get off of it. He can't listen to Kirk because he believes I'm not going to say that this young black man's a complete racist, but he is a bit racist. His views are racist. He's saying that Kirk, because he's a white person, needs to take accountability for another white person committing a racist crime. That's racism. That's racism.
Anybody, especially black people, that are saying Charlie Kirk was racist and was not for black people and did not know black people, I am 100% convinced that you have never sat through a full debate of his or watched any of his debates with a sound understanding. Black people are always so quick to want to be the victim of a situation that they can't thrive. And this is one of the things that Charlie Kirk was exposing to black people. We have
excellent video. I watched this woman's entire thing. I'm gonna link it. It's wonderful. Respect to her. Let's move on. What was his next claim? Misogyny and homophobia.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to kind of ask you, like, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like, because
that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, you know, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you. I'm a gay.
Okay. Debunked. Misogyny. But let's continue here, for example. Racism.org. What kind of chop is this? More of these victim card phonies? Charlie Kirk, white supremacist, dead at 31. I haven't read this yet. I think the title was enough. I will read it. Disgusting.
Let me tell you something. This man was not a good individual. He was not a good individual. Of course, the human part of me is always going to feel something like, yeah, you know, people shouldn't be going around shooting people, but you also shouldn't be going around inciting.
Oh, really? So people shouldn't be going around shooting other people, but there's no fucking but.
People to chorus, to start race wars and to be racist and to all.
To start race wars and be racist? Are you fucking kidding me? These people will never take responsibility. These people will never take accountability for their actions, and they want every white person to take accountability for every other white person's racist behavior, for some random fringe other person's racist behavior. What the fuck is this double standard? It's racism. This black man is a fucking racist.
All this other hateful stuff that you was going around trying to put into the impressionable minds of college students, and then you're supposed to expect. Let me tell y'all one thing about me, black people. We are done turning the other cheek. I have no interest in issuing any level of condolences. I have no interest in giving a damn about his wife. I have no interest in giving a damn about his children.
Okay, my stomach is fucking about to put up my breakfast. If you don't understand that this man is disgusting and racist, then you don't understand morality, right and wrong, and racism. This is racism. Now look at some of these comments here. Charlie was a better fucking man than you ever will be. He never enticed anyone to violence. He didn't hate anyone. He loved everyone. Yes, he may not have agreed with everyone's life choices and opinions, but he wanted to go talk to everyone. Can someone help me find one racist thing he said? Are you seriously trolling? Original poster. Very serious. Well, answer the question. You do know that Google is free, right? To ask something so obvious tells us you are either too dumb to research it or for yourself or just lazy. Try using the same fingers in Google. No need to wait. Original poster. Googled it. I need a quote that is in context racist. His point isn't hire whites only, but hiring based on merit, not just color. He was against DEI. DEI is racist. Also uses data to back up what he says. Stop. Just stop. Who do you think you're trying to explain this to? A white person? You must have black people confused if you think that we're buying this BS. Look, more black racists. So all these people spending the time to reply to him when they could have used their fingers to actually Google something that proves that he's racist, to make an argument that he's actually racist. But no, they're going to type out all these fucking replies blasting someone for asking a simple question. Okay, you want to call somebody a racist? Show me that they've made a racist statement. That's fair. You're going to accuse somebody of being racist? Give some supporting evidence. Otherwise, you are the racist.
Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Now, if you think this is a racist statement, you're a fucking retard. You are an imbecile. You are not an adult. You are not a responsible, civilized human being. You need to grow up. He's stating facts that are parts of the problems that we need to address in our society. I've seen plenty of his discussions where he talks very deeply. He was at Oxford Union debating for hours with a racist black British guy who has praised his death since he died. He's been on these hour-long debates talking about these issues and going in depth with them. I've seen them. He has very good points. I don't agree with all of them. I don't agree with a lot of the reasons why. And it matters to me the reasons why. It mattered to him the reasons why. That's why he spent hours debating it and talking about it. And he went into that. And you can see that for yourself. Look up Charlie Kirk Oxford Union debate. But sitting here and stating facts that are a problem in our society is not racist. And if you think it is, you are not an adult, you are not a responsible person, you are not moral, and you are not interested in solving the problems in our society for everybody. And who would this actually help? Who will be most benefited by this debate? Black people. Especially the black people who fall into that trap of criminality and crime. And we all know that economics is the driving factor of criminality. So why don't we debate that, face the facts, and then address the issue and try to come up with solutions? That's what we leftists want to do. That's what Kirk wanted to do. I think he went about it wrong in a few ways. I think his ideas for solutions weren't things that I agree with. But who fucking cares about that? That is democracy. That is the right and the left debating and trying to make the country better. Not sitting here saying, oh, don't say the facts, because if we say the facts, that's racist. No, us adults on the left or the right, we state the facts, we address the issue, and then we talk about solutions. And that's where we have disagreements. And that's where we try things to solve the problems. Grow the fuck up. So, we've addressed homophobia, misogyny, racism, anti-Semitism. Islamophobia does not belong in this list. Anti-Semitism is the oldest racism. It's racism against Semite people. The indigenous tribes of the Semite area, the Semitic area in the Middle East. That's the Fertile Crescent. The only remaining Semitic people in the world today are the Jews. All the other Semitic people have been conquered, absorbed, or genocided. Jews are the last remaining people of the ancient Semitic tribes. That's why it's called anti-Semitism. Racism is the general umbrella of discriminating against people based on their ethnicity or their skin color or whatever. This term race doesn't exist. There's one human race. That is scientific fact. The term race is a socially constructed term. It's an invented term that we've created to separate ourselves based on some random property. Skin color is just an easy one to see. So that's been part of the racial construct and separation in our history. Misogyny. I didn't address that too much. Homophobia. I addressed that. Islamophobia doesn't belong in here. Phobia is a fear. Phobia means an irrational fear of something. If I'm an arachnophobia, I'm scared of spiders. Can spiders really, really harm you? Other than a few distinct species that are mostly in like the Amazon? No, they can't really hurt you. So why would you be afraid of spiders? It's an irrational fear. That's what a phobia is. Islamophobia is a term invented by the Islamo-Nazis to try to say that anybody criticizing or standing up against Islam, which is a totalitarian political ideology that is the most opposite of leftist ideology that you can possibly get on planet Earth right now, that they have created this term to say, well, you're afraid of Islam, but actually you're racist against Islam. Islam is not a race. Islam is an ideology that people have chosen to adopt, chosen to follow, and it is a totalitarian, theocratically based system of law that covers every aspect of your life, family life, personal life, financial life, work life, the food you eat, the domestic laws, the foreign laws. Everything is included in the Sharia and the Hadith. I've read them all. It's part of my studies. That's why I have a degree in political science and sociology. Islam is part of political science and sociology. It is a political system. It is not just a religion. The whole concept of a religion did not exist back then. Pre-Christianity Reformation, the whole concept of church and state being separated didn't exist. Church was the state. The national identity of somebody in, 1200s, 1300s England was that they were a Christian. That is their nationality and identity. Christian. The Christian kingdom of England. The Christian kingdom of Prussia. The Christian kingdom of Germany, which was the evolution of the HRE, Holy Roman Empire. Religion as a concept separate from national identity was something that evolved through the Enlightenment, was something that evolved through leftist, liberal, progressive movements over the last few hundred years. Islam hasn't gone through that yet. That's the problem with Islam. Islam is the national identity of Muslims. So this is the difference. This is the difference where Islamophobia is a ridiculous term in itself. And here's what he had to say about that. So many European women have been raped by Muslims that they have a name for them, rape-fugees. I'm living in Europe. I'm living in one of the European countries that is the most affected by Islamic invasion, which is why I'm using this fucking video filter, because I have children and I cannot speak out safely where I live right now. There are Muslim Islamist gangs going around in places in the country I'm living in right now, killing people for speaking out. Just over the summer, there was an Iraqi refugee who fled Islam, who came here to flee Islam, who was speaking out about Islam on a podcast. A Muslim gang broke into his apartment while he was live streaming and hacked him to death. They broke into, like, I'm sitting here recording a video. A Muslim gang could easily break in here and hack me to death. In my home. That's why I'm using this fucking filter. Because hopefully if somebody sees this in my country, you know, it gives me some, that's the I don't even know if this will help me, but those are the considerations I'm taking in making this content. When I leave this country, filter will be off and I'll be able to speak and I won't have to worry for my daughter's life. This is true. He's just reporting a fact of what they're referred to by many people here in Europe. And yet there are millions of Euros who instinctively call me bigoted for noticing. Yeah. So many of the Europeans are so afraid of the Muslims that they won't speak out. They won't say the truth. And Europe is collapsing. The UK is gone. The country I live in, I don't see any hope for the country that I live in to be saved. I don't see it as being possible. Islam is a political ideology that is here to replace our political ideology. It is a civilizational ideology that is here to replace our Western civilization ideology. And if you like Islam, great. There's 28 countries that you can move to. And I'm more than happy that they live that life. I've been to those countries, many of them. I've shared a house with Muslims when I was a student. I've lived with them for years. I shared a bedroom with a Muslim from Bangladesh who prayed 5 times a day. He woke up in the middle of the night and would pray. If you know, there's 5 prayers that Muslims are supposed to do, but the 5th prayer is something that only really, really devout Muslims do because you have to wake up in the middle of the night to pray. Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. It is. Islamo-Nazis have infiltrated the left. Geert Wilders, Nederlander politician, who is also being slammed as being racist and all this bullshit. Because he's standing up against Islam, which is not a race. It's an ideology that is incompatible with Western civilization. Because Islam wants to conquer and replace Western civilization. That is a fact. If you're not awake to that, well, I pity you, but I'm also jealous of you. Because if you haven't been affected by it enough to be forced to understand that fact, like I have, well, I wouldn't want you to be in a situation where you would be forced to understand that fact. I wouldn't want you to be in a position that I'm in, where I fear for my daughter's life when she goes to school every day. And she's been threatened by Muslim kids at school. One of them even brought a scissor to school to kill her and a few of her friends. Luckily, that didn't happen. You know how old they were? 8. That happened last year. 8 years old kids being brainwashed at home by Islam. Doing that. That's Europe right now. That's reality right now. Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of Europe and America. And my daughter's throat was almost nearly slit by Islam. Got it? The left is allying itself with this very evil and unreformed ideology that is incompatible with Western civilization. That is a fact. You cannot be leftist if you are allying yourself with an ideology that is the literal furthest opposite to liberal and leftist values. It's insanity. And it is cultural suicide. And that's what's happening in a lot of Europe right now. And that's what the left is doing in America right now. So, this so-called leftist, who's actually a downer, is making this claim against Charlie Kirk. This is the rhetoric. This is the hateful, false rhetoric of the insane so-called left, who are not left, who are not right. They're wrong. I'm a leftist. I stand for liberal values. This person is an insane, uneducated, ignorant, cultural, suicidal individual. I could say worse, but let's stay civil. Let's say what things are. Let's be truthful. Let's face facts and not call people racists for stating facts. You can't have a debate unless you face facts. You can't solve a problem until you identify a problem. Charlie Kirk wanted to do that. That's what we all want to do. He was slain for that. Doesn't matter that I disagree with him on 50% of his views. He was there to debate them. I'm here to debate them. That's what civilized, Western, democratic adults do. We don't have those kinds of people on the so-called left in America anymore. There's a few. There's me. There's plenty of me out there. We need to speak up. Thanks for your time. I'll see you in the next video.